بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله الأمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, grade 5, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Of course, today you're going to have the revision of the final exam, God willing, okay? First of all, happy Ramadan for everyone. And God willing, tomorrow we're going to have, today is Friday, so tomorrow is Saturday. Tomorrow, God willing, we're going to have a revision together, okay? I'm going to send you when to start the revision, okay, on WhatsApp, okay? So please do be present tomorrow because it's too important, okay? So here, some people are asking me, teacher, is it enough to revise from the worksheet, or is it enough to be present with you tomorrow, or is it enough to revise the pages? No, it's not enough to do one thing, okay? So you have to revise the worksheet and you have to do it on Classera, okay? You have 30 multiple submissions, so take advantage. And I have uploaded it like 2 weeks ago, okay? The second thing, you have to watch this video and re-watch it again, okay, like several times. You have enough time to do it, okay? And I'm not going to only to revise this worksheet. I'm going back to the worksheet of Journey to the Center of the Earth, okay, that we have studied together last Thursday, okay? And you have to be present tomorrow, and you have to go back to the pages, okay? So here we're not going to revise all the words that we have studied in spelling, for example, okay? Okay, I'm going to re-explain grammar. That's an easy thing to do. But the words, you have to make sure that you know how to write the words, how to spell the words, okay? And you have to make sure that you know the meaning of the word. If you remember on WhatsApp, I would always like send a message saying it's not only about the meaning of the word, it's not only about the way you spell the word, it's about both. So it's too important, grade 5, okay? So Bismillah, let's start. Of course, we have one story in the exam, okay? One story, okay? And you're gonna have 10 questions, okay? So, based on your understanding of Journey to the Center of the Earth, which is a story that everyone loved, answer the following questions. What is the genre of the story? A novel, an autobiography, or a fictional biography? Pay attention here. We have talked about this story. We have said that this story is going to be a science fiction and a novel at the same time. But we have agreed that in the exam we're going to say that it's a novel because we are following our curriculum. Okay. However, if you go back and you're going to Google it, they're going to say it can be a novel and it can be a science fiction. Okay, and we have explained both genres. Okay, so I'm happy that a lot of people they understand. Like 99% of my students, they understand the difference between the novel and the science fiction and why we said that it's a novel. So the novel we have said it's an extended work of fiction, okay? It's a long story, okay? Which is fictional, of course. And the science fiction, it's based on science, okay? It's a story which is based on science, but it's a fictional story, okay? So it's based on science. It means that the scientific truths that are proved, they have to exist in that story. And here when we were talking about the ichthyosaurus and the plesiosaurus, everything was totally scientific, okay? Even the number of the teeth, the way they looked, you see. So it's a fictional story, but it's a science fiction. And we have studied in grade 4 the moonwalk, which is another science fiction story, okay? So I'm extremely happy that you mastered this, my boys, okay? So here it's a novel. Number 2, he said an autobiography. We have talked about the autobiography. It's a story that you're going to write, okay, about yourself, okay, telling one event or many events in telling us about one event or many events in your life, okay. Number 3 is a fictional biography, okay. It cannot exist because a biography has to be a real story. So we have fictional and biography, so it's not correct. Number 2, which caused the raft to be lifted out of the water? You remember when the raft that they were on, okay, our heroes, okay, it was lifted out of the water, and even we have said like it went up to the skies, then it fell down again. So which caused the raft to be lifted out of the water? Is it a volcano? No, we didn't have even a volcano in our story. Is it a storm? We didn't have even a storm in our story. Strong currents I mean the waves that we studied together, which are underwater. That's what we call a current. No, of course, here we are talking about the sea monsters. We are talking about the Ichthyosaurus and the Plesiosaurus. So this question is too important because a lot of people they're going to say, "Whoa," because they were so tiny, and they will stop there, which is incorrect, of course. Why did the Ichthyosaurus and the Plesiosaurus ignore the man? And pay attention here, the man is with an E, which is a plural noun. Okay, why they ignored those men? Okay, they were afraid of them. Oh my God, I'm about to laugh. Okay, because this answer is totally wrong. Okay, they were like huge monsters. Okay, why are they going to be afraid of them? They were not meat eaters. No, they were meat eaters. Okay, and Ichthyosaurus and Plesiosaurus, they are meat eaters, and they are so dangerous. Okay, they were looking for food. No, they were not. They were looking for each other and fighting. Okay, they were having a quarrel, if we can say that. Okay, they were fighting. Okay, they didn't see them. Yes, they didn't see them because they were so tiny. But you cannot say they were so tiny. And so, carry on, please. Explain it. You see? So that's the most important thing, to know the answer and to be able to explain it. The narrator thought, and thought is the simple past of to think. It's an irregular verb that we had in the spelling there, that there were many sea creatures or creatures fighting because, yes, we remember that at the beginning he said at least there were like 5 or 6 creatures fighting, but to be honest, we only had 2 creatures. Okay, so I'm going to start with D. He was very frightened, so he didn't count. No, that was not correct. He was very frightened, but he was so scared. He was petrified. He was terrified, but that was not the real reason. He was busy writing instead of watching. No. Of course, he's taking notes, okay? But later on, not now. He was about to die. He's not going to write, okay? That was what his uncle had told him. No, totally the opposite. The uncle told him that there were 2 creatures, okay? There was much confusion and noise. Yes, that's what happened. And the sea creatures were as if made of many different animals' parts. Yes, correct. Okay, as if we can see, okay, a shell of a turtle, a neck of a serpent, a kind of a dolphin or a whale. Okay, so those animals, those 2 monsters, they were made of different animals. Okay, or their parts, they were like looking like from different animals. So that's why they said that they had more than 2 monsters. So here, pay attention. What happened first? Maybe in the exam he's going to ask you what happened last. Okay, the plesiosaurs died. The sea creatures fought. The professor identified the animals. The narrator grabbed his rifle. You remember the rifle? He wanted to shoot them. Of course, it's B. The sea creatures fought. That's the first thing that happened. Okay. Why did the narrator want to shoot at the animals? I'm going to start with D. Okay, I'm going to explain. He thought the noise would scare them. Never. He has never said that. Okay, and the noise would never scare them because they are like huge animals. He was asked to do so by the other men. Never. They never asked him to do so. By the way, the uncle asked him not to do so because he's going to attract the animals to them, okay, by shooting with the rifle, okay. He felt he was the most accurate shooter. They haven't not mentioned in the text. You see, that's an idea which is not mentioned even in the text. He thought it was his only defense. Yes, that was the correct answer. He knew that he's not going to defend himself using that rifle, okay? It was not enough to defend himself, but he wanted to try, okay? So that was the correct answer. The men found it hard to sleep. You remember that? Because, and I'm going to start with D as usual, they had to watch for creatures. No, at the beginning they didn't see the creatures even, okay? They were astonished when they saw the creatures, okay? They didn't know that those creatures lived in that part of the world. There was much noise. Not at all. At the beginning, there was no noise. Okay, it's later on they faced the noise of the fight between the two animals. Okay, there was no darkness. Yes, that part of the world. Okay, it looked like Antarctica. Okay. They didn't have any night. You know, in Antarctica, we have studied this in grade 4. You're going to spend like 6 months without light, okay? And 6 months you're going to spend it without night. So 6 months without light and 6 months without night. Okay, it's going to be lightful for 6 months, and it's going to be lightless for other 6 months. Okay, so here there was no darkness. Yes, they didn't have any night. Okay, because they were in the center of the earth, which is of course imagination, fictional. Okay, not having night. Okay, and they had to keep water off the raft. No, not mentioned in the text even. So there was no darkness. Is the correct answer. So here we're going to move on to vocabulary, and of course I'm going back to the other worksheet of Journey to the Center of the Earth, and we're going to revise the vocabulary together. Use the words in the box to complete the sentences. The night, we are not talking about the night that starts with an N, we are talking about the night that starts with a K. K plus N, the K is not going to be pronounced, just like knife, okay? The night, the man who is going to the war, okay, on a horse, that's a knight. The knight put on his before going to war. He wears what? He wears his armor, okay? Some people ask me, but teacher, why didn't you say the knight puts on his armor before going to war? Which is correct, of course, if you are talking about the simple present. But here, I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that the past of put is put. So this sentence is in the past. The knight put on his armor before going to war. So this sentence is in the past. Then, the creature attacked the hunters. We have serpent, which is a snake. We have armor, which we have explained. It's a kind of a shell that is going to protect you, to cover you. And hideous. We have agreed that the meaning of hideous is ugly, very ugly. So the hideous creature attacked the hunters. Then, 3. The huge looked like an anaconda, and we have explained the word anaconda. You remember we have said that the anaconda is a big, huge snake which lives in South America, okay? So the huge hideous looked like an anaconda. No, we don't have a noun if you're going to put hideous. The huge armor looked like an anaconda, not correct. The huge serpent looked like an anaconda, and the word serpent is derived from the French language, okay? So serpent in French is going to be the snake. In French is going to be serpent. So you see, that's why we have serpent in English. And we have talked about the origins of languages. And I told you that the English language is derived from the German Saxon or from a German Saxon origin, but with many words coming from the Latin origin too. So the turtle, and you know that the turtle has a kind of a shell to protect it. Inside the shell that looks like an armor is encased inside, okay? Is enclosed inside the shell that looks like an armor, and we have explained the word encased. When we talked about the taxiphone, we have said that in person when he is in a taxiphone, now we don't have taxiphones anymore. If you go to London, yes, you still have taxiphones in London. It belongs to their culture, so they do not want to take it off, okay? Number 5, the dinosaurs are considered animals. They are considered as extinct animals, and everyone knows that extinct means that they do not exist anymore, okay? Not existing anymore. Number 6, the horse and the rider plunged down the side of the dune. And you remember when we were talking about the meaning of to plunge, okay? To fall forward suddenly, okay? Without paying attention or with paying attention. Some people are going to use plunge, okay? I'm talking about native speakers, okay? When they're going to go to swim and they're going to plunge. By the way, this word too is derived from French because to dive in French is plonger. So it's derived from French too. Now let's move forward to grammar, which is to important. Underline the adverb in each sentence and what is the word that it tells more about. Pay attention, my boys. We have talked about adjectives and we have said that the adjectives are going to tell more about nouns. So when I say, for example, so sorry, I'm taking my pens, okay, to be able to explain. So when I say the tall boy, here as you can see, okay, the tall boy. So here tall is telling more about a noun, okay. So an adjective is going to tell more about a noun. It will never tell more about a verb. Please pay attention to this. Here, as long as we are paying attention to adverbs, and we have said that an adverb will incorporate the word verb, okay, to add something to a verb. That's why we call it an adverb, you see. So here, when he said underline the adverb in each sentence, and what is the word that it tells more about? It's going to tell more about a verb in our level, okay, in grade 5. Now, we have to pay attention to that, okay? So, some people, they told me, teacher, whenever we have ly, that's the adverb. Not always, okay? Don't forget that we have studied 4 kinds of adverbs. We studied adverbs of manner, how, it answers the question how, and we're going to do it now. We have studied the adverbs of time. We have studied the adverbs of place. We have studied the adverbs of degree, okay, to what degree you have done that thing. So please pay attention to teacher. She did her homework. I can stop here. However, I didn't. I added carefully, okay? So I'm going to ask the question. Of course, I have to ask about the verb as long as I have an adverb in our level in grade 5. So she did her homework carefully. How did she do her homework? You see, so I have the question how, okay, to ask about how she did the homework, okay? So it's an adverb of manner as long as it answers the question how, okay? Ali walked slowly. So how did Ali walk? He walked slowly. So it's adding something to the verb. I'm so sorry. It's telling us how he did the verb, okay? I can change it here. Ali walked fast. You see, fast is an adverb here, telling more about walking. Okay, how did he do the verb? Okay, now look here. He is sleeping now. It's an adverb of time here, okay? Telling more about the verb, about the time the verb was done, okay? So, when is he sleeping? Now. I can say yesterday he was sleeping. Yesterday is an adverb of time too. Okay, tomorrow at this time he'll be sleeping. Okay, tomorrow is an adverb too, an adverb of time. Tell him more about the time when the verb was done. Okay, now I looked for her. I can stop here, but I added more to explain more. Okay, to give more information about the verb. So I looked for her where? Everywhere. Okay, so everywhere is an adverb of place. Okay, so I looked for her everywhere. She came to London yesterday, an adverb of time. So you see, my boys, you have 4 questions. Ask when the verb is done. Ask where the verb is done. Ask how the verb is done. Ask to what degree the verb was done. Okay? So, for example, I'm going to say, she runs very fast. Okay? So, very here is an adverb. Okay? Of degree, okay? So what degree the verb was done? Okay. Or for example, she ate rather carefully. Rather is an adverb too, okay? To what degree, okay? And we have this in the PowerPoints. Now let's move forward, and I'm so sorry for this one, to the comparative and superlative adjectives, and please pay attention to teacher. Now we have said that if we have a long adjective, when talking about comparative, we're going to use more or less. However, if I have a short adjective, I'm going to use the ER, but with rules, okay? So here, if I take, for example, fast, and fast can be an adjective or an adverb, okay? So pay attention, okay? And I want to use it in the comparative form. It's a short adjective, so I'm going to add ER. So teacher Malik is faster than Abdussalam Shahbout, for example. Faster than. So then is a keyword that is going to tell me that I'm using the comparative form. Okay? However, if I'm going to use the superlative form, I'm going to compare one person or one thing to all the other things. So when comparing comparative, we're going to compare one person or one to one person, okay? Or one thing to one thing, okay? In comparison, okay? In the comparative form. However, in the superlative form, we're going to compare one thing or one person to a lot of things or to a lot of people, okay? So here I can say that Umar is the fastest. You see? So with the comparative form, I'm going to add er. I'm talking about the short adjectives. However, in the superlative form, I'm going to add est, short adjectives, please. Okay? I want you to pay attention, my boys, to the consonant vowel consonant rule. For example, yeah, if I have big, I have a consonant. I'm going to start counting from the last letter. So the last letter is a consonant. Before it, I have an I, which is a vowel. And before the vowel, I have a consonant, which is a B. So I have the consonant vowel consonant rule. And whenever I have the consonant vowel consonant rule, I have to double the last consonant before adding er or est. We are dealing with short adjectives. So it's gonna be bigger and biggest. Okay? We have another rule. If you have an adjective that is ending with the y, and before that y you have a consonant, okay? Just like pretty. And let me erase this because I don't have enough space. So here, this is I think the eraser. No, it's not. This one is the eraser. Yes, exactly. So I'm going to erase this and I'm going to carry on. So here, for example, if I have pretty, which is a short adjective, I have a Y by the end, and before that Y, I have a T, which is a consonant. So when I'm going to add the ER, I'm not going to write YER. Wrong. It's gonna be prettier. I'm going to omit the Y, and I'm going to change it with the IER. So prettier and prettiest. Pay attention to that, my boys. Okay, let's start. I find detective stories. I'm going to look for the key word, okay, the key, yes, the key word for the comparative form or the superlative form. Okay, I find detective stories than any other stories. Oh, I have then here. So it's a comparative form. So I'm going to choose more interesting. But teacher, you have explained the short form and you haven't explained the long one. We're going to explain it now, okay? I have done number one to go back to more and most. Whenever you have a long adjective, you cannot add er. Never. You cannot say, for example, interesting, okay? You cannot say that, okay? So you have to add more for adding thing when you say, for example, more beautiful than, okay? Or less beautiful than to give a negative impression, okay? So, for example, the sorcerer is, or the wizard, or those people, okay? They are less beautiful, okay, than the princess, okay, for example, okay? So here we have more and less in the comparative form. And we have most and least, which we write this way, by the way, okay, for the superlative form. So I say the princess is the most beautiful girl, okay. I cannot add er or I cannot add est to beautiful because it's a long adjective. So here I find detective stories. I found then, so it's going to be a comparative form using more. Steve was the key word for the superlative, the smartest in her classroom, okay? Although she looks younger, she is the superlative oldest, with a short adjective. Tom put up his hand to solve the hardest question on the worksheet. On his, I'm sorry, of his three daughters, the king loved Maria. Whoa. So here you pay attention, my boys. The comparative form of good is better. Of course, two T's, huh? I have written three T's, I don't know why. Okay? And the superlative form of good is best. However, the comparative form of bad is worse, and the superlative form is worst. So pay attention to those irregular adjectives that we have studied together. You're going to have it in the exam. Of his three daughters, the king loved Maria the. So it's a superlative form, the best. Edward is then. So it's a comparative form. I'm going to use younger. Edward is younger than his twin Fernando. It's a short adjective. The last thing, write this, these, that, or those to describe each object. Yes, to describe, because those are demonstrative adjectives. And we have said it answers the question which one. Because in English we have three questions to ask about adjectives. What kind, how many, which one. Do not forget those questions, okay? So here, this is going to be used with singular nouns. I'm going to write an S here. And that is going to be used with singular nouns too. But there is a difference. This for close object. If you have assisted with me, we have written S close, singular close. However, that it means singular when talking about something which is far from you. So singular close and singular far. These when you are talking about something which is a plural, and those when you are talking about something which is plural too. Okay? So these things, plural close, which means plural, something which is plural and close to you. However, those when you are talking about something which is plural, however, it's far from you. Okay? Let's give examples. If I'm talking about a bird which is next to me, so one bird, singular, I'm going to say this bird. However, if the bird flew away, I'm going to say, or if the bird flies away, I'm going to say that bird, because it's far from me. Okay? Now let's talk about a lot of birds which are near teacher. I'm going to say these birds. Okay? These. Okay? All the birds fly away and they are far from teacher. Now I'm going to say those birds. So that's the rule. And I think this one is easy. I'm going to erase it and we're going to do the exercise. Okay? So here, a school 2 kilometers away. One school which is far. So I'm going to use that school. A bird next to you. One bird, singular, which is next to you, close to you. This bird. And as long as it's next to you, I'm going to say this bird can't fly as long as it stays next to me. The two children, so plural, more than one, okay? Playing in your house next to you. So they are in your house and next to you. So plural, close. So these are my kids. Two kids playing in the far garden. So we are talking about a plural and a lot of boys and which who are far away from you. We're going to say those kids. Phonics. Okay? You have to pay attention, my boys. I'm going to ask about this. Okay? So you remember when we studied together the Greek and Latin words parts, okay? And we have said that each part is going to give a meaning, okay? When you link it to a word, okay? You have to learn this by heart. I'm going to have it in the exam. Whenever you have eject, okay, it means throw, okay? You have to learn it, okay? Inject, eject, we have studied this, okay? Whenever you have the word part phobia, it means an extreme fear. And you remember when teacher was talking about claustrophobia, and I said that I'm claustrophobic. I can't get in an elevator because I have an extreme fear of enclosed places. Okay, I cannot be encased. Okay, inside. Logy, zoology, for example. Okay, zoology. It's the study of something. Okay, whenever you have logy. Okay, geology, zoology. So, for example, geology, or let's take zoology, which we had in our lesson. Okay, zoology. It's the study. It's the study of animals. That's why we have zoo with logy. Okay, then Rapt, it means burst, just like when we say, for example, the volcano erupted. It means it was getting lava outside of it in a strong way, okay, bursting, okay. And script means right, of course, whenever you have the word script in or the word part script in a word, it's going to give the meaning of writing. For example, a manuscript. For example, the word part script is present in that word. Now let's move forward. Choose the correctly spelled word. And here, my boys, I have to tell you that we have sent you on WhatsApp all the pages that you're going to have in this exam. Please go back and write each word that we have studied together in spelling, in phonics. Please write it 3 times. That's it, okay? Because maybe tomorrow you're going to have, or on Sunday, you're going to have one of those words. Maybe you're going to have one of the other words that we have studied. So make sure that you know how to write the words. And it's not only about the words and the way we spell the words, it's about the meaning too. So this is the way we write telephone, telescope, diameter, describe, scribble, eruption, patriotism. And we have talked about patriotism. We have said that a person who is a patriot is a person who loves his country, okay? Capitalism, which is a kind of an economy, okay, based on private money and gaining money, okay? So here you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 words out of almost 80 words. So that's only 10% of the words that we have studied. So go back, please. Check your the weekly plan where we have told you, okay, the pages that you're going to have in the exam, and please, please, please revise every and each word that we have studied together. Of course, tomorrow we're going to have a session, and I'm going to send you when we're going to have this session, God willing. And I'm always with you. If you have any question, please send me on WhatsApp, and or you can call me even if you want. If you have any problem, I can even start a Zoom session to re-explain anything that you didn't explain. Thank you so much, Grade 5. It was an honor. I love you all, and goodbye.